when you chat with clients of yours, Plan with Baxter people, how do you go about setting financial goals? Because it's got to be different for everyone. So how do you even start the process, Brandon?
For me, before we start setting goals, I need to know where you are.
Yeah.
And that is, I can't believe how often that gets skipped. But until I know where you're at, then nothing else can start. And so that's where that, when we meet with clients, we'll go through that and we'll back into their cash flows and say, how much do you make? How much are we saving? How much is going to taxes? How much is going towards mortgage? Other things like that. We can back that out, figure out exactly where you are today, and then project that into the future and figure out, hey, are you on track? Are you not on track? And then from there, we have a baseline.
Mm-hmm.
And I always, with clients, especially younger clients, that still have a decade or two before retirement, I like to establish the baseline of what do we need to do to continue life as you know it today, right? We don't want you to hit retirement and have your lifestyle take a hit. What does it take to just hit the maintain button, right?
Mm-hmm.
Adjusted for inflation, of course. And then from there, then you start setting goals, right? That's where the goals happen. Are we there yet? If we are, then we've got some extra cash flow. Where do we put that? Do we put that into increasing lifestyle today? Do we increase lifestyle in retirement, or do we kind of blend that a little bit? And that's where the goal setting starts. But until you know where you're at today, I don't think you can really start.
Okay. So then, Rex, what about goal setting for those who are, say, independently wealthy?
Well, I think everybody has goals, right? Whether you're independently wealthy or not. I mean, you still have things that you're trying to accomplish in life, financially or otherwise. And so the goals might just be different, but they still have goals, whether it's staying independently wealthy, right? And sometimes that's the goal. But sometimes it's, I want to be able to fund a business, or I want to be able to support those around me and make it so that they're not dependent on me, but they're independently wealthy at some point. And so, I don't think your net worth determines whether you're going to have goals. I think everybody has goals, and just some have a more difficult time articulating them and spelling them out. And that's where we help, right? Is we figure out where you're at today, and then we help you articulate and help you set those goals and figure out what they are and why why they're important to you.
So if someone comes to you, Rex, and says, I want to save more, that's not a specific goal. So do you just start with specifics right off the bat?
Yeah, I mean, we start asking questions like why, right? What are you trying to do? You want to save more for retirement? You want to save more for a house? You want to save more for, for a vacation next year? What's our time frame? And so we get into, I mean, most people have heard of SMART goals, right? And so once we figure out where you're at, like Brandon said, then we start breaking the goals down into SMART or smarter goals that are specific. And so we need to know exactly what it is. It's got to be meaningful to you. As far as that's concerned, it's got to be achievable, relevant, time bound, right? It's got to have a time measurement to it. And then if it's smarter, you evaluate and readjust is kind of the ER on the end. So I think it's important to go through that entire process.
How do you use that in your everyday work, Rex? Because it sounds like
So
you have this memorized. So I'm assuming you do this like every day. Do you
every
read your
day.
goals? Yeah. Do you read your goals every day? What's the best way to do this?
Yeah, so let's talk about our team, right? Our team has goals, right? And so, we have a business plan, we have goals that we're trying to achieve. And so just this morning, right, we went through our goals this morning and how we did over the last week.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all measurable, right? They're all time bound, they're all relevant, they're all, all those things.
They're all getting fired.
Yeah, well, yeah,
No,
I frequently fire my team every, if it doesn't happen once or twice a week, then it's just not a good
That's
week,
like coaches in the NFL. Just cycle them through.
Oh, they're
my
rehired like within moments, so
oh yeah, no, totally
yeah.
kidding. So that's good. That's a one way to keep them accountable. But when it comes to your own financials, we don't necessarily have that coach. We don't have that boss or whoever helping us. That's where you come in, right? As a financial planner, a financial advisor. And how do you keep people? First of all, they got to figure out what their goals are, and then how do you keep them on track?
How do you keep them accountable towards
Mhm.
those goals?
Yep.
So I think part of that is breaking them down into smaller goals, right? Is somebody says, hey, look, I want to be able to live on, and I'll throw out random numbers, right? $100,000 a year when I'm 60, in today's dollars, right? So maybe that's 150 by the time you adjust for inflation, depending upon how old they are, and that's great. And so in order to do that, we need to be saving X amount into your 401k plan. We need to be targeting a 6% rate of return over time, whatever that is. And so we kind of break that down into the different pieces. And then when we meet with them, whether it's once a year, twice a year, four times a year on those frequencies, we're checking and saying, okay, did you save, have you been saving $500 a month? Have you been saving $2,000 a month? Have we been averaging over the last 3 or 5 or 10 years that 6%? Because every year it may be up or down, but are we still trending towards that long-term target rate of return? And so it's breaking down the bigger goals down into smaller steps, right? It's the same way you eat an elephant, right? A bite at a time.